Hi guys and welcome back to the Tommy Starcraft channel. It's your host Tommy with yet another Starcraft Remastered cast from the South Korean ladder. We have a nice Terran versus Zerg gameplay here in between the two pro players, as we are spawning here in the upper right part in the purple. It is a barcode Zerg with a very high APM. Not quite sure who this is. It could be Jaedong, I could be mistaken, it could also be Hero. But yeah, sadly I don't really know who this barcode player is. However, I do know who his opponent is. That is spawning here in the low right in the teal. It is of course Flash with his AK, the barcode with the W behind. So Terran versus Zerg on a 4 spawning location. Very interesting and also very long replay, as you can see from the timer. So yeah, let's just see how they do. Let's just see how their build order is going to evolve here, as we actually see Flash now heading out with his SCV to block the entrance here. So looks like Flash once again opting to go for a more macro-oriented game with a fast expansion build order, preparing a wall of here to his expansion. Let's have a look at the Zerg, still producing an overload, still droning up, as he might also go for a fast expansion build order here as well. Given in fact it's quite a big map, a 4 spawning location map here for the two pro players, as more drones are getting spawned here for the Zerg. And yeah, I believe very soon they will be sending out their scouting drones and SCV, and this could be the drone that is actually going for a... oh, hold on, actually I already had here a drone to go for a fast expansion. So straight fast expansion here for the Zerg. No spawning pool or extractor yet, but I'm very sure that he's going to follow up with that very soon. Let's check Flash really quick. Notice how he's opting to go for a V build order here. I believe he's going to place perhaps another supply depot here into this location, or he could even go for a bunker right here. We did saw the spawning pool and the extractor here for the Zerg. So you're pretty standard open up here. Lucky move out by the Zerg with his drone, and there's the scout for Flash. So both players nicely reacting, nicely sending out their scouts, and there's the expansion also of course for Flash, as he saw the expansion from the Zerg here. So let's see, he's going for another supply depot, I believe. So it's a nice V shape here for Flash. A very nice SimCity build order in order to pretty much block the entrance for any incoming Zerglings or other attacks. Even the drone, I believe, is blocked here to move forward. So what an interesting move here by him, as even the Marine will be able to fend off any scouting from the Zerg. Let's just check the main from Flash once again. He did go into a mech versus Zerg. This is quite extraordinary. Instead of bio, he actually decided to go for mech into a late game, and it worked out very well for him. Let's see if he's going to try this again versus a Zerg, as we do have the tier 2 upgrade going out for the Zerg. So a pretty standard Zerg versus Terran gameplay here. SCV is still around, just waiting to see if it's going to be a Spire or perhaps a hidden Hydrox Den into this location. Perhaps we're about to find out what exactly the strategies from the Zerg is going to be, but it looks like very likely to be a Spire with some utilist gameplay here for the Zerg. In the meantime, one barracks here for Flash. We also have a factory finally getting produced here, and he might also try to hide a starport into this location with some Valkyries. We've seen this work out really well in the new meta from the Terran versus the overlords in the air from the opponent. There we have the Spire. SCV is going to stay as much as he can here, and a very nice skin here for the hatchery from the Zerg, looking really cool, as yeah, the Spire will finish anytime soon, and the SCV is also going to get sniped. So yeah, pretty standard stuff, nothing out of the ordinary, no intentions to rush the opponent. Just a couple of Zerglings are out as Flash goes into more and more Marines. We see the factory is getting finished very soon. There's the armory, as another building is getting made here. Indeed, it is a starport, so it's a 1-1 build order for Flash. 1 barracks into 1 factory and 1 starport. And a great wall of here indeed, as he's spawning more and more Marines. They notice that he doesn't really need a bunker, the ways are pretty much shut. But very soon the first Mutalisk will arrive into the base from Flash. There we have yet another expansion for the Zerg, and I believe Flash will be going to an engineering bay very soon. However, he's also deciding to go into a double barracks after the starport for him. Quite interesting stuff, as he's also going for stim and some medics. So it looks like it's going to be a bio build order. He might go for some medivacs. It could be a possibility for him to also be aggressive versus the Zerg. And yeah, let's see. There is no engineering bay yet for him. At least I don't see one. Academy and armory actually here for him. No engineering bay yet. Oh yeah, there it is. Sorry. So yeah, he has an engineering bay, of course, much needed engineering bay against the incoming Mutalisk as they're getting produced now. Only 2 of them. But yeah, let's see what the next upgrades will actually be here for Flash. And indeed we have a Valkyrie. So once again he's decided to go for a Valkyrie versus the oncoming attacks, the air attacks from the Zerg. And here there are some Mutalisk here, but 1 Valkyrie or even 2 can be very, very strong into countering this. As we have an attack here, the Marines are pretty much exposed. The micro is very, very good for those Mutalisk, and even 1 supply depot has already been sniped. So small victory here for the Zerg as he's taking out 1 building. The Mutalisk are still trying to deal, of course, some damage. There are some turrets, and very soon the Valkyrie is here. Lots and lots of splash damage is going to be taken out of those Mutalisk here. I believe they will try to engage, as the Valkyrie might get repaired very soon. However, more and more damage is being taken by the Mutalisk with this 1 Valkyrie that is actually now immediately getting repaired by Flash. So very, very nice stuff by him, fending off any attack, fending off any harassment by the Zerg. Let's check the main. Still tier 2 here for the Zerg. Some Mutalisk are still out, and the other expansion has been finished, as the Mutalisk are still roaming around, still trying to deal some damage. And Flash could even snipe some overlords here with 2 Valkyries. And with that, I believe he's going to find the confidence to move out here against the enemy. The Zerg tries, of course, to inflict damage towards the expansion. Sniping this 1 turret will be really, really great. But yeah, now in come the Valkyries, and the splash damage is very, very much real, as he has to return immediately. And Flash could actually move out with his Steam Marines. I believe 1 weapons will be explored very, very soon. Yet another Valkyrie is getting produced. And yeah, with that, Flash finding, of course, the time to move out. I believe he's going to try to attack the newly established base, but yeah, the Zerg immediately reacting with some Sunkens. Actually, many Sunkens here for him. So a great investment indeed by the Zerg, as Flash is forcing some minerals to get depleted here for the defenses for the Zerg. And yeah, we are slowly but steadily closing in towards the 10-minute mark. It's of course still anyone's game, but I believe Flash has a smaller advantage now with those Valkyries. 3 of them now all of a sudden with Steam Marines chasing down some Mutalisk here in the air. And even a turret here at home. The Zerg is nicely trying to force Flash to stay back, and he might be lucky here to snipe a Vulture or 2. Even all of the 3 Valkyries have been sniped here, so what a great move out by the Zerg. Being very, very strong here, sniping the important air units, the important air defenses here for Flash, as now Flash is pretty much having to move out with his units. But there are Sunkens here, and the Mutalisk are also chasing the group of Marines. So this group of Marines looks like it's pretty much doomed here with Medivacs. Very soon he might get surrounded, and yeah, nice micro by the Zerg. But the Steam Marines will of course fight back. So yeah, 1 Marine after the other, nicely getting snapped here by the Zerg, as more and more damage is being taken by those Marines, and Flash might try to micro them back home. But at the same time, of course, he was trying to inflict some damage here. However, they are already at risk out, and now we even have some lurkers getting produced. So very good takeout here by the Zerg versus the Valkyries. As in comes another attack by the Zerg. There is a turret out, there is a Valkyrie here waiting, and this could be really, really good for Flash in order to inflict more splash damage towards the Mutalisk here in the air. So let's see what's going to happen. The Valkyrie is there. The Scourges, however, get some great connections, and the Zerg very, very smartly playing this game, sniping those important Valkyries in the air, as he's now taking out more and more of the units here from Flash. And the reinforcements have to pour here back for him, and actually a great micro indeed by the Zerg, as Flash is of course missing another Valkyrie. So this will of course force Flash to stay back to defend. Those Mutalisks very, very lucky. Lots and lots of hit points have been lost, but in the end lots and lots of Mutalisks have stayed alive here, and they're causing more and more trouble here for Flash. And yeah, even the SCV is getting sniped. So very fast moving unit, quite a fragile unit, but in the end Really great micro by the Zerg, being very lucky here, sniping marine after marine and medic after medic. The science vessel will very likely irradiate the mutalisk very soon. And let's see what the next steps are going to be, as some vultures actually have been sent out to place some mines for the reinforcements for the Zerg. As Flash is now pretty much opting to go for mass marines instead of those Valkyries. Sadly didn't work out for him this time. And I believe Irradiance will be also the answer against so many units from the Zerg. As we see a command center being placed down here, but a great map control indeed by the Zerg. We saw so many mutalisks in the air, even sniping those newly established mines. At the same time, we do see a expansion here for the Zerg in the upper left part, and now Flash pretty much moving out just to secure the expansion right here, having two science vessels and now immediately irradiating one of the mutalisks. But what a fast reaction here by the Zerg, so very skilled Zerg player indeed. Very fast into reacting against the irradiance from his opponent, and yet another expansion here for Flash, as Flash knows that he's going to go into a long distance game, so he's deciding to go for another expansion right here. And the mutalisk is very much hurt, but still winning some time, cancelling the production of the command center here. And what a great reaction once again here by the Zerg, out microing the irradiance here from the Terran, from Flash. So very good gameplay here by him. This should be tier 3 of course. And we have a Defiler mount with more macro hatcheries getting added here for him, so even an Ultralist then. So what a great builder here for the Zerg, as very soon I believe he's going to transition into mass Defilers with Zerglings, with Ultralisk. So quite deadly. Let's see what the answer from Flash is going to be. Of course, the bio on the ground, those Marines will have to be perhaps once again transferred into some mech, and that's exactly what he's doing. So Flash believes indeed that into the late game, mech, those tanks, those vultures, those Goliaths can be the answer against the Ultralisk, especially those mines on the ground with the vultures and the tanks with the splash damage against his opponent. Looks like to be the new strategy for any Terran, as he's placing more and more buildings here into his home, and also having a good map control with those vultures out on the map. Yeah, we have a small stalemate. Some vultures will be very likely sniped here, as the Zerg still having those mutalisks up in the air, still dealing damage, still being abusive. And yeah, some Marines are also on patrol here. Lots and lots of turrets are getting added, as we have turned into a nice macro oriented game. And I believe very soon we're going to be seeing masses of tanks and vultures onto the map in order to prepare against those Ultralisk, as we even have speed for the overlord. So this could be also a drop happening here for the Zerg, a drop into the main, a drop into the production buildings here for Flash. And yeah, let's see what's going to happen here. There we have the Defilers, Ultralisk also out, some Lurkers also out here for the Zerg, Plague and so on. Many upgrades indeed for both players, as even some rockets are getting upgraded for the Goliaths, and more map awareness for the Terran, as he's adding more and more of his bases. So the lower part pretty much in control for Flash, and the upper part pretty much in control for the Zerg, as we closing towards the 15-minute mark. So a very interesting game we have here in between the two players, as now some Zerglings with Adrenaline will be added by the Zerg. And Flash, I believe, is going to pretty much suicide his Marines here. He wants them to be replaced by tanks very soon. So he's just pretty much moving out, trying to cause as much damage as possible. But in the end, this should of course be cleared by the Zerg, and Zerg knows this of course. He's going to leave the tanks, the Marines pretty much alive much as he can, in order to not have a fast transition into those tanks. And yeah, very smart gameplay indeed by the Terran, placing more and more mines. Some mines might get some connections here, so very good trade here for Flash, sniping some important Zerglings there onto the ground. And let's see what's going to happen here. Nice Nido Swarm for the Zerg. Lots and lots of hatcheries indeed here for the Zerg, as I believe he's going to try to wait for something. What exactly it's going to be? A great plague is also getting casted, and more minerals are getting added here for the Zerg. So I believe he's going to try pretty much an all-in very soon. Look at how those minerals have dropped from 3k into 1k very soon. So let's see what exactly is producing. Speed for the Ultralisk Zerglings and 6 Ultralisk actually getting produced here, so very soon we might see him work out, we might see him try to move out against the Flash, and he might even try to target the newly established bases. So this is why exactly Flash bring here his tanks and his Goliaths. Goliaths of course to snipe any incoming overlords with units, and yeah, the tanks on the ground of course to inflict splash damage towards the incoming Ultralisk here from his opponent. So yeah, let's see who is going to be the one attacking first. I believe Flash deciding to play very more defensively. He's deciding to wait for an attack, as we even have 1 to 2 upgrades. Check the Zerg very soon, as the first Ultralisk should of course be placed out very soon. 1-1 upgrades for him. More mines are of course getting laid out, but the Zerg is nicely reacting, sniping them. Some lucky mines will of course get some connections against the Ultralisk, against the Zerglings. And yeah, of course, still anyone's game, still a very interesting game as we close in towards the 20-minute mark. So who is going to be the one deciding to go for the first move? The Ultralisk pretty much in control of the middle of the map. Finally Flash reacting with some Goliaths. He wants those mines to stay and put, and he wants those Zerglings to step of course into the mines, the Ultralisk as well, as more and more minerals are getting mined, more and more factories here, but the same can be said here for the Zerg. Lots of hatcheries indeed for him as well. The Zerglings will of course wait for any attack anytime soon, and yeah, the Mutalisk still taking damage from the Goliath here. See how they do the Goliath, very tanky, very strong versus those Mutalisk, as we still don't have a major move out yet. Flash deciding to play defensively, adding those turrets here, making it really hard for the Zerg move forward. So now we pretty much have a maxed out Zerg and a maxed out Terran, so quite interesting. The Mutalisk might get sniped very soon. Lots and lots of Goliaths to respond here, as indeed 2 Mutalisk have been sniped, and the hatchery is also looking to drop, but we do have a small move out here, actually a strong move out here with 2 defensive, triple defensive matrices here for the Terran. And I saw Flash do this very many times, but there's also many Ultralisk on the ground, so many Zerglings are moving here forward. So this seems to be the new meta, the defensive matrix onto the tanks, but I believe the Zerg has way too much here. Some mines are getting some great connections, tanks are also shooting nicely with splash damage versus the opponent. In the end, both players take quite a large amount of damage, and yeah, in the end the Zerg seems to be able to replenish his forces really much faster, as some mines are getting some great shots. But look at the supply, Flash dropping really low. A great move out here by the Zerg, as he has inflicted lots and lots of damage towards the opponent, and in the end Flash will hold, but at what cost? He has 20 less supply and 2 more workers here than his opponent. But yeah, let's see what's going to happen here, as some Ultralisk have actually made it here forward. So being undetected, causing some chaos. Nice stuff here by the Zerg, as there have been 4 to 1 upgrades. Same time, more action happening here, as the Ultra is very strong now into the late game. Let's see if Flash can hold against this incoming attacks from the Zerg. Sadly for him, he did lose the mining abilities here onto this expansion, and more buildings are getting killed here by those strong Ultralisk units into the late game. So Flash pretty much on the defense, the Zerg deciding to have more control to attack more further, and Flash actually reacting with some mines on the ground. But notice how the Zerg is nicely spreading his units, especially those overlords, just to have more map awareness, more map vision. And a Defiler is also getting added, and I believe the Zerg is going to play it more safe now, as we will pass the 20-minute mark very soon. So it's Ultralisk with Defilers, very strong, very deadly. And yeah, so many overlords are getting spreaded here onto the map, as yet another expansion is being taken here, and some spores have also getting added here. Some it could be transformed into Sunken very soon. So the Zerg with a very nice macro game, as he's sending out those Zerglings here, but of course they will be suicided into those mines. So finally some mines getting some good connections, even though there are overlords in the air. Flash tries of course to mine as much as he can, just to delay any huge wave of attack, and even if the Zerg decides to go for a huge wave, those mines will deal massive amounts of splash damage. So it's a very nice strategic gameplay here by both players. I believe the Zerg could react with a drop with those overlords into the main here from Flash, pretty much bypassing all of those mines. and just inflicting damage towards the production buildings. But hold on, we actually do have a move out by Flash with his 223 upgraded units, so very good upgrades indeed for him, as he's closing now towards the newly established base from the Zerg. And the Zerg, of course, immediately reacting with Zerglings and Ultralisk, and now we do have a move out, quite a strong move out here by both players. Massive amounts of Ultralisk versus the tanks from Flash, very nicely done with the Defilers, with the Orange Storm onto the ground. There's more and more damage being taken here, and a nice move out, even a Lurker shooting there. So yeah, Flash taking more and more damage, those Ultralisk, very strong. And yeah, Flash is of course slowly but steadily moving out now with his tanks. But yeah, the Defiler will make it very hard here for any move out by the opponent. So nice stuff here by both players, as the reinforcements are actually pouring forward for both of them. And in the meantime, it's going to be once again massive amounts of Zerglings with Ultralisk moving here forward. And yeah, Flash is very smart. He's trying to place the mines, he's trying to abuse of course the mines, and look at that, he's even catching a Ultralisk, but how tanky this unit is, soaking so many mines into him. And yeah, now finally yet another move out by the Zerg with those Zerglings with the Ultralisk. No Defilers needed now, as he's pretty much fighting here against the tanks from Flash. So very rare sight, very beautiful sight indeed to see all of those Ultralisk pretty much taking care of the tanks. Yeah, the tanks will hold their ground, so Flash with a smart decision, going of course into mech versus the late game Zerg. I believe Bio would have been a bad decision, so the Marines pretty much, oh hold on, we actually do have Queens now in the air. But yeah, the Marines would have been a bad decision against so many Ultralisk, as more and more Queens are even getting gathered here. So yeah, look at that, the response from the Zerg versus the tanks. Massive amounts of Queens with Broodlords onto the ground, and Flash has to retreat, as we see a huge lineup of Zerglings moving here forward towards the newly established base, and those Zerglings with upgrades very strong. Flash being caught off guard, as even Ultralisk do join now the attack, so Flash has to retreat. He's going now to defend his newly established base here, but yeah, more and more is getting pulled here forward, even some Overlords, and the tanks are on the high ground. Even more factories are getting produced here for Flash, as he has to defend once again against a move out by his opponent. Lots and lots of action happening here left and right. Still the high ground in control for Flash, as the Zerg pretty much throwing everything he has versus his opponent. And yeah, let's see some more damage being taken, as defensive matrix once again is being used by Flash. This seems to be the new meta for him, after we saw him go defensive matrix onto his battle cruisers. Now he's pretty much defending with defensive matrix onto those tanks. And let's see for how long he can hold versus a sheer ongoing attack by the Zerg. Both players losing units, both players taking damage, so still a very interesting game, as Zerglings are pouring here forward, trying to surround the tanks from the opponent. Yeah, now the Ultralisk has fallen as well, as Flash seems to be holding. Not only that, but he decided to move out with his tanks, gaining more and more map control. And the Vultures once again in the front, placing the mines. So those mines really do once again a great job for him. But so many Zerglings on the ground. However, immediately a defensive matrix reacting onto this one tank. And the Defiler is also very close by. But this time I believe a better engagement for the Terran for Flash, as he's able to snap more and more units from the Zerg. And yeah, those tanks nicely getting spread now here by Flash, as we do see some Zerglings will take care of that. But yeah, it's still anyone's game, a very interesting game we have indeed here in between the two pros. And who is going to be the victor? Even Goliaths taking out some Overlords in the air. So every unit counts of course a lot into the late game, as Flash seems to be gaining more and more map control of the middle of the map. Yeah, he has more and more factories, some tanks to stay back and defend, as the Zerg is now going for some Zerglings. And quite a surprise here, as he left some 4 tanks here to snipe this expansion right here. Same time he's moving out with his Goliaths and with his tanks, so very smart move indeed. He's known of course to spread his units, and taking out that expansion was really smart. We even have some Queens now in the air, as the Zerg will be able to hold. And not only that, he's also able to counter-attack Flash here. So both players nicely crippling their economies with great attacks, and even more and more units are getting spawned here forward, as the tanks will take more and more damage from the Ultralisk. Now we have a huge move out by the Zerg, even with Broodlings that are running forward with Zerling, so everything is getting thrown out once again. Flash in pretty much serious trouble as more and more of the wave, the Zerg wave, is moving here forward towards him, and some Zerglings even make it here forward into the main new base, as Zerglings and Broodlings are pretty much fighting here all over the place, and now even the Queens have joined the attack, and I believe that the floodgates have been pretty much opened here, so Flash in some serious trouble as more and more units from the Zerg are getting thrown out, and the newly established bases will take quite some damage. And yeah, the production buildings are now getting targeted, and I believe with that the Zerg might have done it here. Or is it? Let's just see. Flash dropping to almost 100 of a supply. He's trying to come back, but no, in the end the Zerg will take this game. So sheer masses of Zerglings with Ultralisk here with their upgrades in the end being able really strong. And let's not forget that he also had those Queens, and yeah, look at that, massive amounts of Zerglings here just pretty much pouring forward the Queens in order to take care of the tanks. So it seems like the perfect answer towards the mech build order from the Terran are indeed Queens and sheer masses of Zerglings with Ultralisk. Not that many Defilers actually being needed. I believe the Queens actually are the perfect counter towards all of those tanks with the Broodlords. So yeah, very nice game, and there are indeed those Queens from the Zerg player. I believe the winning unit this time. And let's not forget, of course, the Ultralisk with Zerglings here. So in the end it was way too much here for Flash to hold. The tanks would have been great if there wouldn't have been no Queens in the air. But yeah, in the end the Zerg this time proving to be much stronger. I don't know who exactly he is. He is a barcode. It could be Jaedong, could be Hero, it could even be Queen. So sadly I don't know who this is, but very aggressive gameplay, much more aggressive than Jaedong. So it could be Hero or Queen, but I'm not sure. Maybe you guys know. So yeah, let's just check the stats very quickly. Yeah, those Queens are the answer for the late game Terran mech. If you are a Zerg player, I believe this Zerg player right here pretty much shown us how strong Queens can be versus the tanks. Not that many Defilers actually needed, like I told you. Not that much Dark Soul needed. Queen seems to be the perfect answer with Broodlings versus the Terran. So yeah, with that, a very interesting game. Nice game here by both players. But in the end, the Zerg just soaring sheer masses towards the Terran, and it was just way too much to handle. And yeah, nice game indeed. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to try to cast as much as I can, be as active as much as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Tommy signing out.